Okay, if you want, you can write a new heading, deferred payments, but yeah, I don't know if you guys still had space. It depends on your setup. Okay, so guys, listen up. This is example 2 on this page that we're going to do now. All right. So I'm not sure where you stuck it in, if you have space. Right. Now, this is something that is also quite common. So I think I told you guys that I did this with my car. I bought my car, or I got it in the beginning of December, but I could only pay the first payment at the end of January when I got my first paycheck from Deferred. So my payments were deferred. All right, now certain things have to happen in that case. I'm just going to go through this example. It says a company takes out a bank loan of 2.5 million rand to buy a mobile crane. The loan is repaid through equal quarterly payments over a period of 7 years, starting 3 months after the crane was purchased. Now, guys, is that normal? Starting 3 months after. I'm talking in terms of the normal formula that we use. Remember that formula works that if we make our first payment at the end of the first, in this case, quarter. Now, after 3 months, isn't that the end of the first quarter? Yeah. Right? Okay, so that is normal. So 2.1, calculate the quarterly payments. So we're just going to use the normal present value formula. Okay, it's a loan that we're taking out. The loan is 2.5 million. So we're just going to use this formula. I'm going to write it down just so that we know exactly what we are subbing everything into. But obviously you don't have to write this down. It's on the formula sheet, so you can just read it off. Yo, my fingers are like ice blocks. My word. Okay, so we have X and then bracket 1 minus 1 plus. The interest rate that they're telling us here is 12% compounded quarterly. So that's 12 over 400. To the power of -4 times how many years? 7 years. Right, you can obviously write -28 right from the start. That's also fine. Over the interest rate, which is 12 over 400. And that is equal to this loan amount, which was 2.5 million. Okay, so you have had some practice in solving for X here. You're going to multiply by the interest rate, then you're going to divide by that whole bracket. So I'm not going to let you work that out now. I have already done it. X is equal to 133,233 rand and 8 cents. So that's now per quarter, right? So every 3 months, I have to make that payment. 2.2, calculate the balance on the loan at the end of 2 years. I want you to do that on your own, please. Calculate the balance on the loan at the end of 2 years. Now you can use either method, it's up to you, you can decide. Calculate the balance on the loan at the end of 2 years. And remember, this is a 7-year loan. So after 2 years, 5 years are still left. Okay, I used method 2. That's the answer that I got. But if you used method 1, you would have gotten that answer. Now, I just want to show you because in my notes from the previous year, I used method 1. So I just want to show you that working in case you tried it and you didn't get it. It would be that. All right, remember with method 1, you find the present value. So you use the present value formula of the payments that you still have to make. So there are 28 payments in total. After 2 years, you've made 8 payments. So there are 20 payments left. All right, so that is why your exponent there is 20. Or you obviously just could have done 4 times 5. All right, if you worked it out, 4 quarters for 5 years that are still left. And then you would get that answer there. Okay, entirely up to you. Doesn't matter, the memo will have both answers on. Okay. All right, are we fine on that one? Now 2.3 is asking for the quarterly repayments on the loan if the first installment is deferred and only paid at the end of 9 months. All right, so what did we calculate here? These are the repayments if they pay at the end of the first quarter, which is end of 3 months, right? So let's write that in here. These are the monthly repayments if they paid at the end of first quarter. Therefore, after 3 months of actually getting the money. All right, so for that, we use the normal formula. Now, guys, if they're paying after 9 months, how many quarters later is that, or how much later is that? Usually, or in this, the normal scenario, they paid after 3 months. If they're now making their first payments after 9 months, do we agree that that is 6 months later? Right, so how many quarters is that? 2. All right, so after 9 months, I'm just going to write a little explanation here. Obviously, in a test or exam, you wouldn't have to. But after 9 months is equal to 6 months later. Therefore, 2 quarters later. So guys, that is now going to mean that we have to do 2 things. All right, our p-value is not actually going to be 2.5 million. What they're going to do at the bank is they're going to add 2 quarters worth of interest to that 2.5 million. And it's almost as if that is your loan. All right, that is actually what you take out. So we're going to add 2 quarters worth of interest to the 2.5 million. You can do that within this formula, right? So you'll see I'm literally going to say equals this with a bracket to the power of 2. Okay, so that's the one thing. Then the other thing is, because we're missing essentially the first 2 quarters payments, we're actually going to make 2 less payments. All right, so instead of making 28 payments, we're still going to pay this loan off by the end of the 7 years. But because we're missing the first 2 quarters, essentially, we're not paying after 3 months, and we're also not paying after 6 months. All right, we're missing those 2. We're not going to make 28 payments in total. We're actually going to only make 26. All right, so there are 2 adjustments. We're going to have 2 less payments, and also our loan amount is going to be more than the 2.5 million. We're going to add basically the 2 payments that we're missing, we're adding to the interest. All right, or to the actual loan amount. So I'm just going to write that here. Therefore, we must add 2 quarters worth of interest to P and we must subtract 2 from the total payments. Let's say from the number of payments rather. Okay, now they asked us to find X, the monthly or the quarterly repayment. Sorry, so we're going to use the same formula. We're going to have 1 plus our interest rate stays the same. But now instead of negative 28 in our exponent here, we're going to have negative 26. Or you could put in like square brackets 4 times 7 and then minus 2 if you want. And that is over 12 over 400. Remember that's over I. That is now equal to 2.5 million. And we have to add 2 quarters worth of interest to that. So are we expecting our monthly, oh sorry, I keep saying monthly, our quarterly payments to be more or less? More, hey, we're paying a bigger amount off over less months. Quarters. I'm gonna stop doing quarterly examples actually. All right, so we're definitely going to have to pay more per quarter. All right, now guys, if you wanted to calculate this separately, I'll just quickly write down what that actually was equal to, because you could have done this like in a separate step. I know some people prefer to do it like that. This was actually 2,652, 250. Right, so that is actually like the new loan amount because you have to add 2 quarters worth of interest to it. Then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to times by the interest rate, divide by that whole bracket. So your quarterly repayments now will be equal to 148,362 Rand and 33 cents. Okay, is that fine, guys? Next heading, if you are ready, the next heading is the final payment of a loan. Hmm? Oh, yes. No, we're done with all core after this one little note. Yeah, it's going to be AP. Yes. Don't be too excited. Yeah, we're just going to be doing AP. Sure. Here we go, the final payment of a loan. The final payment of a loan. Okay, we're writing this down. Sorry, I didn't have the presence of mind this morning to photocopy it. A transport company takes out a loan Okay, you can do this first one on your own. Calculate the number of months that it will take to repay the loan. So that is finding n, right? And remember, what do we need to use in order to find n? Because n is the exponent, we have to use logs, all right? You can do that one quickly. Find n. Yes. A little bit, yeah. Oh, guys, it's a loan, so are you going to use present value or future value? Present, good. Well, they're asking the month that it will take to repay the loan. So if you are getting a decimal, then it will take another month, if that makes sense. Because after the 39, you're not actually going to have going, you wouldn't have paid it off in full yet. Yeah, so you would have to round up. Okay, guys, that's what I got. So yeah, I think you do have to show a few more steps for this. I suppose you can do it all in one step, but yeah, it would be a bit risky, but it's up to you. All right, so that is what I typed into my log button, but you do get a negative answer, but because it's negative in, you can then just disregard that negative, right? So you're getting 39,582 ... months. So guys, that means that after 39 months, would this loan be repaid? No, you would still have to make another payment, all right? So that is actually 40 months in total. Now, what this means is that you're going to have 39 full payments of 24,000 Rand. And then you're going to have your last payment, which is actually going to be less than 24,000. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how to calculate that now. So, and one payment which is less than 24,000. Now guys, for that final payment, you're actually just going to have to pay what you are owing them still at the end of the loan, all right, at that time. So what you're actually going to have to do, you're going to have to do a two-step calculation here for number 2. You're going to have to first find the balance that you still owe after the last full payment, all right? So the balance after 39 months, 39 payments, 39 months, and then remember, that's what you owe a month before you have to make your first payment. So is that what you're still going to owe at the end of that month? I'm just going to say again, we're going to calculate the balance after 39 payments. All right. Let's say that's the end of November. Now you still have to make your last payment at the end of December. Are you still going to owe the exact same amount at the end of December as what you owed at the end of November? No, they're going to add a month's worth of interest still to that balance after 39 payments. Okay, so that's what you're going to have to do for this. You're going to have to do 2 steps. You're going to have to find the balance after your full payments. In this case, it's 39. All right, but obviously it depends on the question. So the balance after 39 payments. And then for the second one, second step, you're then going to add 1 month's interest. The thing is, the balance outstanding at the last month is going to be after 40, which is going to be 0, isn't it? So that's what we are going to do in the first step. But then we must still add a month's worth of interest to that, because you're not at when you make your last payment, a month would have passed after you calculated your balance. Am I? The monthly repayments times 40. Remember, it's not just going to be the loan amount. You would have been paying interest as well all the time. So you can't just minus the 800,000, because you're actually going to pay a lot more back. So if you just minus the 800,000, you're going to be left with all of the interest as well for the whole time period. Right? The loan amount with the added interest. It does sound like it should work. Yes, we can check if that will work. Yeah. I suppose the loan amount with the added interest minus, yeah, we can see if that works. Okay. All right, let's just do this quickly. So first we're going to find the balance after 39 payments. So the balance, and now here again, this is now where it becomes tricky, guys, where I said I prefer to use the second method, because now you're just going to use 39 for your end. Where if you use the first method, you're going to have to use 0,582 as your payments remaining, which is where it becomes a bit tricky, which is why I don't like using the second method. Okay. So actually, I'm just going to put it in the next line, otherwise it's not going to fit. So the loan amount was 800,000. 1 plus 10.5 over 1,200. How many payments have we made? 39. Minus, what was our monthly payments again? 24,000. Now we're finding the future value. So it's this one. Divided by I. Let's get that. Okay, that is how much you owe directly after making that 39th payment. But by the time you're going to make your 40th payment, another month would have passed. Okay, so that is why you must then add 1 month's worth of interest to this. So therefore, your final payment and what formula do we use to just add a month's worth of interest? That normal A equals P bracket 1 plus I to the power of N. All right, so just our P value now in this case, that balance, and we're just adding 1 month's worth of interest to it. So you can put it to the power of 1 if you want, just to remind yourself that it's 1 month, but obviously you don't have to. And that means that that final payment is 14,005 Rand and 69 cents. And obviously, guys, this balance, you're not allowed to round off. When you write it down, you're going to round it off, but you're going to use the answer button in the calculator. Yes. Okay, Amar, what were you suggesting? You were saying we take the monthly repayment, so the 24,000 multiplied by 40 minus the loan plus all the interest. Okay, so let me see. 1 plus 10. Now, are we going to do this for 40? Let's see what that gets to. Not the same. Okay, I'll just think a bit about why it doesn't work. Oh, I typed the wrong thing here. Oh, yeah, it's a very different. Oh, sorry, I typed in 240,000 instead of 24,000. So it's one, yeah, it's a big amount. Mm.
So from my account now, my calculator gets the exact answer. You go from 40 months.
Yeah.
And then you just add, so you get a negative answer.
If you do what?
So if you make a balance after 40 months,
okay.
You get a negative answer because you paid more, and you just add 20,000 and give you that answer.
So if you find the balance after 40 months,
we give you how much extra you would have paid, so that if you add 2,000, it's how much you should have paid if the balance is 0.
Okay, and you get the same. Okay, cool. But does this make sense, guys, what I've done here? Is that all right? You can do that if you want, Alice, I don't mind. Okay, all fine, guys. There we go, we're done. All right, I do think you need to practice this. All right. 8 minutes to 1. How's that? All right, exercise. You do just need to practice this, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble now, but I mean, you do. And I just want to check quickly 2 and 3. I'm just gonna give you one. Just gonna give you number 3. Okay, sorry. Let me first check for deferred payment 1. Okay, so exercise 4.5. I'm just going to give you one of each, guys. Exercise 4.5, page. Oh, sure, where are we now? Page 110. That's the page that the question is on. Number 8. So that is a deferred payment question. And then exercise, thank you, 4.9 on page 118. You just have to do number 2. And that is a final payment on loan question. Now, guys, we haven't done a lot of practice on finance, okay, because I know you have a lot of other stuff going on. So you will, I suggest just looking through some past papers when you're studying for marks, just working through a few of those questions so that you can see how they can kind of put it all together. Yes. Yes. Everything that you have done in grade 11 and 12. No, I'm lying. Sorry, this is not all in marks. Sorry, my bad. You only have to know up until present. You need to be able to apply future value formula and present value formula. That's all that we are going to test you on in marks. But everything else obviously will be in your final. So, yeah, yes. The parallel triangle thing. Prop theorem. Yes. Yeah, we did 2 proofs. Hey, we did prop theorem and we did similarity. You need to know both of them as far as I'm aware. Yeah. Guys, your test on Wednesday. Remember, you're writing in the morning, not in the afternoon anymore. Did everyone get that message? You were going to write in the afternoon, but we thought you guys are a bit spent by that time. All right, so morning. We'll do. No, as in doing a math lesson, which is, I think, 3 and 4. Hey, yes, 3 and 4. So that will be on similarity, proportion, and probability. Those are the topics that will be in that text. Yes.
It doesn't feel like it's a very long test. It's like not math attention. Is that like a good assumption to have? Is it going to be like really in depth?
Well, remember those similarity questions can go into like a lot of circle geometry and all sorts of, they do get quite complicated. So I would expect at least, I mean, I saw the test ages ago. I can't even remember what's in it, but presumably they would have to ask you something that does go quite deeply into that stuff.
Is there more geometry than?
I can't remember. I would think that there would be slightly more geometry than the probability because in finals it is a bigger part than the probability. The probability is always just like a very small question, like at the end of the paper. Yeah. I'm not sure. They are on our classroom. I think there are lots of answers on the grade classroom that Mrs. Court posted. So you can go take a look, but I'll just have to go through my file and just check. And then I can just post the ones that we did. But guys, it's really nice to work through as many of those questions as you can. Hey, I have answers here to exercise 1, 2, and 4 in my file. And then I must have for exercise 5 as well, because we did quite a few. I do have stuff here, so you can come take a look with me. No, man. Come on, you can speak, please. Like a timeline question. No, I've never seen one like that. Yeah. They could give you a timeline question, yes, but I don't think they'll make sense. Yeah. Yeah.